Thank you. And thank you to the organizers for today's event and all of you out there who are ready to be a voice for science. It's really my honor to be here, and I'm heartened by so many of you who are here today in solidarity, marching with people all over this country. You know, there's some who would devalue the impact of science, but your presence here acknowledges and celebrates the many contributions science has made to our society. I suspect many of you here today heard of this event after reading about it on the internet. Science made that possible. And while you were getting dressed, many of you looked at the Dabbler report to see what the weather was going to be, to see if you needed an umbrella. As you can tell, I did not look because I do not have a jacket on. Science made that possible. I didn't take advantage of it. Then you hopped in your car and you maybe turned on your phone and the GPS on your phone, and because you needed to get directions here. Science made that possible. And yet for all these contributions to daily life that have resulted from government-funded research, we see a federal administration that has adopted a hostile attitude towards science. Whether it is cuts to the EPA, the National Institute for Health, or the Department of Energy, the scientific and technological breakthroughs of tomorrow are being held hostage by the transient political ideology of today's federal government. Politics and science are not all that dissimilar. In politics, you hear a lot about fact-checking. After a speech or an interview, we fact-check what somebody has said to make sure that they are sticking to the truth and basing their claims on verifiable evidence. Science is no different. Science is discovery. That scientific discovery, in essence, is through a process of collective fact-checking. In science, evidence does matter. Facts matter. In science, facts matter. Independent replication and verification is required to support or advance a new scientific theory. No matter where you live, no matter the language you speak or culture you are a part of, the scientific process transcends these differences and allows the evidence to speak for itself. The relentless evidence-based verification, recalibration, and refinement of scientific ideas creates a collective consensus which informs us as a society and impacts our policy decisions, or at least we would hope it would. Unfortunately, it's not at the federal level now. It is crucial that we at various levels of government invest in research so we can discover how to make solar panels more efficient and affordable. So when the next global pandemic breaks out, we can create a vaccine. And so we can continue to learn and unlock the mysteries and potential of the planets with which we share our solar system. And here on our home planet, we can learn how to live in a more environmentally sustainable way to protect our Earth and preserve it for generations to come. While the federal administration is considering withdrawing from the Paris agreements, the New York State Assembly supported the Climate and Community Protection Act, which would aim to drastically cut our state's carbon footprint. While those who control Washington are slashing EPA funding, New York State has invested $300 million in the state's Environmental Protection Fund. The state has spent $10 million to fund the Photonics Venture Challenge, a business competition that will attract and support startup businesses to Rochester and further strengthen our position as a national technology hub. We created the STEM incentive program so promising students can stay here in New York and focus on discovering that next breakthrough. We invested funding for the RIT Center of Excellence and Advance in Sustainable Manufacturing, and we invested funding in the University of Rochester's Center for Excellence in Data Science. Investment. I truly mean it when I use that word. Investment is an important word because this is money we are putting down now that will create future wealth for our community. It is investment. It is money we're putting down now that will be the next discovery or cure for an illness. The University of Rochester and Strong Health is the largest employer in the Rochester area. RIT is one of the largest employers as well. Our health system and educational institutions are the anchors for our local economy, and reductions in the amount of funding dedicated to health and scientific research at the federal level will have a direct impact not only in limiting scientific advancements, but on the vibrancy of our community. That is why it is so important that we fight for science funding and take part in the political process both nationally and locally. It was science that made Rochester the city it is, and it is science that will lead our city to prosperity in the 21st century. When Bosch and Lomb began producing microscopes and binoculars and telescopes in the late 19th century, they were building a company that would go on to become a global leader in contact lens production. When George Eastman and Henry Strong founded Eastman Kodak, they were also building a global company here in Rochester based on scientific discoveries that made film and photography possible. And when physicist Chester Carlson invented a new process for printing images that caught the attention of Xerox founder Joseph Wilson, they would commercialize a technology so successful that, like Google, the people would use the name of Xerox, of their company, as a verb in the workplace. These companies, created out of the scientific innovations of their times, helped propel Rochester from a town that milled and shipped flour along the Erie Canal to a worldwide leader in industrial and consumer manufacturing. And it is a result of the scientific research from our acclaimed universities that we are once again in a position to harness emerging technologies and propel our city forward. So while the marches are exciting and fun, and you're going to have a lot of fun today, we need to keep today's enthusiasm for science for the many days, months, and years ahead as we work to promote science and as we fight against the federal government who wants to deny science and not fund science. We will not allow that to happen. If we harness the potential energy here today, then we will be better able to address those challenges we face of today and be better equipped to face the challenges of tomorrow. I join you in the fight to make sure science is at the forefront, it gets the funding it needs, and that we base our policies on science both here at the state and at the federal level. Thank you so much.